Hello student, currently we are learning the lectures from Kent philosophy, and in last lecture we learned simple substance, the 8th lecture from Kent philosophy, isn't it? And you know this concept of simple substance is based on the concept of vital force. Let us revise the previous topic. In previous lecture we very well know the Organon of Medicine. In the Organon of Medicine, the 6th edition of Organon of Medicine, Dr. Hahnemann introduced the first time the dynamic concept of life and the role of vital force in health in aphorism number 9. Every one of you know this aphorism: in healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force, the dynamics that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway and retains all the parts of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operations as regards both sensation and functions, so that our indwelling, reason-gifted mind can freely employ this living healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. With concern this aphorism, Dr. Kent tried to explain his new concept, which is totally related to the physical or the theory of physics, and he tried to explain the various qualities of simple substance. Let us revise what we learned in previous lecture. That we learned the concept of vital force in homeopathy, then the various terminology used in homeopathy, as it is a vital, the dynamic principle, vital principle, the dynamics, vital force, etc. And not only in homeopathy but every civilization very well acquainted with this life energy, because they very well differentiate the difference between the living organism and the non-living, isn't it? And they observe the influence of vital force in whole environment, and in different civilization this vital force used as different terminology. Like in Chinese it is known as ki, in Indian it is known as prana or jiv, atma. In Greek it is a pneuma, Hebrew the ruch, and the word spirit from the Latin word the spiritus. And in every civilization there is a concept of this life energy. Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathy, called it the vital force or vital principle, as it is from the English word. We very well know whenever there is no existence of vital force, there is no sensation, no function, no self-preservation, and it is death, and only subject to the power of external physical world. Yes, by this physical world Hahnemann tried to differentiate the world of physics and world of immaterial thing, isn't it? That is the dynamic world or the energy, which has no any other physical expression. Then we learn all the qualities of vital force, that is it is immaterial, invisible, spiritual, automatic, autocratic, dynamic, instinctive and unintelligent. These are the qualities of vital force explained by Dr. Hahnemann in his Organon of Medicine. These are not the qualities of simple substance. Note down here. Then let us start the Kent philosophy. The Kent philosophy, the beginning of this lecture is from the introduction of this aphorism number 9, isn't it? That is the aphorism number 9, same, in the healthy condition of man, the spiritual vital force, the dynamics that animates the material body, rules with unbounded sway and retains all the parts of the organism in admirable, harmonious, vital operation as regard both sensation and function, so that our indwelling reason gifted mind can freely employ this living healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. Then the lecture or explanation of Kant started from this. This paragraph introduced the vital principle. It would hardly seem possible that Hahnemann in the time he lived could say so much in a few lines. In the 7th section of the first edition of Organon, Hahnemann wrote, "There must be exist in the medicine a healing principle. The understanding has presentiment of it." But after the Organon had gone through a number of editions, Hahnemann had somewhat changed, and in this work, which is the in 1813th edition, that is in 5th edition, he distinctly calls a unit of action in the whole organism the vital force. You get the idea from some of his expression that the harmony itself is a force, but I do not think that Hahnemann intends to teach that way. And we already completed whatever is a concept of Dr. Kant. His concept is totally depending on or the Kant explained the concept of simple substance according to the Swedenborgian theory. In Swedenborgian theory, he told that energy is based on a fourth state of matter, isn't it? And here also Hahnemann, here also Dr. Kant introduced this vital principle which animates the material body. It is a simple form of energy, which is the fourth state of matter. At the present day, advanced thinkers are speaking of the fourth state of matter, which is immaterial substance. Yes, along with the solid, liquid and gaseous state, another state of matter is also the radiant form of matter. Yes, it is invisible, totally dynamic, it is energetic, still it has, can explain that it is a form of matter, you know, which is made up of some, which have length, which have breadth, you can measure it, which has volume, which occupy the space, isn't it? But Kant insisted you that you don't consider it is a immaterial substance, while or the vital force is, it is not only considered, but you consider it is a radiant form of matter, and the all qualities of the matter you should apply for the this radiant form. Substance in simple form is just as positively substance as matter in concrete form. The question then comes up for consideration and study: what is vital force? Yes, what is the character and quality or is? It is true that man only has this vital force. It possessed by no animal, no mineral. That means this vital force is only the property of only the living organism, and this mineral, or which we call the non-living thing, which doesn't, this mineral doesn't have the existence of vital force, then how this mineral existed, isn't it? And as it is as there is a existence of this mineral, and or you can say these elements also, then definitely there is a existence of vital force in that particular mineral or elements. And with continuation with this thought, and Dr. Kant equated the theory of vital force to the theory of vital force in the living organism to the theory of vital force in non-living thing also. Hahnemann equated the dynamic nature of vital force with natural phenomena, like to electromagnetism rather than any simple substance. He was pure vitalist, and he who taught that the material world is sustained by radiant energy sources, not subtle form of matter. That Hahnemann insisted that it is not a material thing, while Kant told you that it is a fourth state of matter. It is a difference between the concept of Hahnemann and Dr. Kant. According to Swedenborg taught that in the fourth state of matter there was no quantity, isn't it? There is no quantity of simple substance, but only quality and degree of fineness. And by considering this degree of fineness, Dr. Kant applied this theory of simple substance. Dr. Kant tried to refine Hahnemann's concept by replacing immaterial vital principle by immaterial vital substance. Try to understand. Kant tried to refine Hahnemann's concept by replacing immaterial vital force by immaterial vital substance or simple substance. Have you got this? And his different qualities which are carried out by simple substance, he explained in his lecture. If man can think of energy as something substantial, he can better think of something substantial as having energy. When he thinks of something that is essence, has actual being, he must think of that is as something existing and having something in has ultimate. That means whenever there is something, there is existence of something, that means it definitely turn to ultimates also. Here the vital force very well explained or very well expressed through the chain of causal effect. If we do not do this, we destroy the very nature and idea of influx and continuous. The vital energy is automatic, autocratic and dynamic in nature, it has a flow of continuous also. It seems obvious to them that some force animates the human body because the human organism is more than a mere sum of physical components. Some animating force or principle enter the organism at the time of conception and guides all the functions of life, isn't it? And then leaves at the time of death. And in between this period of life and birth and death, whatever is he lives their life, there is a continuation of this energy in form of the birth of their offspring, isn't it? And this chain of influxes continue in human being. Yes, Dr. Kant explained that. What do you mean by influx? As a bold and substantial illustration, let us think of a chain. What is that hold the fast link of the chain to its investment or first attachment? at once we will say the intermediate link. What is that? Connect that link, its previous link, and so on to the first link and its attachment. If it is a influx, or it is a chain of our life, it is influx of our life. Now we are in, it is a present ring of this present state. You can say presently it is a ring of our present state. Then this present state is obviously link up with the another or the previous ring, and this previous ring are ultimately it related to this previous link. Similarly, the various rings are link up with each other, and as it is a birth, for example, as it is a ring of birth, then this ring or this birth, it is not started here, but it started from the previous generation, isn't it? Whatever energy we received or whatever is life we live, it is from our parent or parental cell which life, and therefore this life is a continuous link up, or it is a continuous flow of influx. Do we not see that there is one continuous dependence from the last to the first hook? Yes, and therefore this last hook is attached or link up with the first hook. Whenever that chain is separated, it is as much separated as possible, and there is no longer influx from one link to other. If this chain is break here, then there is no link up of the last chain to first chain, and therefore this, it is very important. If there is a breakage, there is end of life. In the same way, as soon as we commence to think of things disconnectedly, we lost the power of communication between them. All things must be united, or series is broken, or influx ceases. Whenever the series of chain break up, then the influx ceases. Again we see that man exists as to his body, but as yet we do not see all the finer purpose of his being. You know, the vital force or the simple substance here, what vital force is an influence which directs all aspect of life in the organism. It adapts to environmental influences, it animates the emotional life of the individual also, and it provides thoughts and creativity and conduct the spiritual inspiration. And therefore the vitalistic school of thought believed in fact that this vital force connects the individual with the ultimate unity of the universe. Here you understand that the vitalistic school thought believed in fact that this vital force connects the individual with the ultimate unity of the universe. Yes, this vital force, it is a part of the cosmic energy which lies in our lives in our body, which connect the ultimate unity of the universe. And here we and whenever it influenced by the external influences, you know, if it is a favorable one, then there is no any other influx started, while if it is a unfavorable one, then this vital force try to adapt with this unfavorable environment by creating such a chain of influx, isn't it? Let us try to understand the next paragraph of the from the Kant philosophy. Here up to here we already finished in last lecture. Yes, let us read. To believe that man exists without a cause, to believe that his life force goes on for a while and does not exist from something prior to it. Yes, the human life is not it is not a separate entity. as it is a influx, or it is a continuation of the energy from the previous generation. To think that there is not constantly and continuously that influx from cause whereby he continues to life demonstrates that the man who does not so is an irrational being. From his senses, man has never been able to prove that anything can exist except it has continually flowing into it that which hold it in continuance. That means the flow, though this influx is flow continuously from one generation to another generation, and this his body, or you can say the material one, carry forward this energy from generation to generation. Then why should he, when he goes into the immaterial world, assume that energy is the first? Yes, whenever there is we assume that the concept of this immaterial thing, then we assume that energy is the first. Why we consider that? Because without energy there is no existence of the material one, isn't it? This the preservation of this material is by vital force, and this concept is Dr. Kent applied to the physical world. We shall find by a continued examination of the question of simple substance that we have some reason for saying that energy is not energy per se, but that it is a powerful substance and is endowed from intelligence that is of itself a substance. That means this vital energy, it is not a separate entity, it is not an energy per se, that means energy as we call, but it is a powerful substance which endowed from intelligence of that particular substance. So whatever is the substance is there, this substance possesses this intelligence, and which is only the simple or it is only the energy. The materialistic, to be consistent with his principle, is obliged to deny the soul. Yes, the materialistic people, or you can say who are not believe on the dynamic or spiritual aspect of life, they totally deny the existence of soul and to deny a substantial God, because the energy which he dwells upon so much is nothing, and he must assume that God is nothing and therefore there is none. Yes, the materialistic people never believe on soul, existence of soul, or also the substantial God or the supreme energy which conduct our life. They totally deny the concept of God, energy, and therefore it is totally a part of this non-material world, or the material world. But the one who is rational, yes, the materialistic people are not rational, because the best example is the dead body. Whenever there is a dead body is there, all parts of are intact, everything is there, but there is no life. Then where is life? Where is soul? Yes, it is departed. And therefore, if you have an idea of life, then you must accept the material and immaterial existence of life also. The material one is our body, which is made up of the matter, and also the existence of the supreme energy or the vital force which rules the whole material one, which animates and which perform all the sensation and function, all emotions. It is, or you can say it is whatever is the mind. Mind, it is also the spiritual in nature, and therefore if we consider that there is no existence of God, there is no existence of vital force, then you are not rational one. If you are rational one, you are a scientific one, or then you must realize the existence of energy on life. But the one who is rational will be led to see that there is a supreme God, that he is substantial, that he is a substance, he is a substantial one, and as substantiality which is existed, he is a substance, he is something is there, it means something is there. Everything proceeds from him. Yes, everything is originated from this supreme energy or supreme God, or from this supreme substantial substance, and the whole series from the supreme to the most ultimate matter in this way is connected. Just as surely as there is a separation and not a continuous influx from first to last, ultimates will cease to exist. Yes, if in this chain of life, or in the influx in the chain of influx, the first chain or first ring is continuous or related to the another which is called ultimate, and the first ring is called chain cause, and second is called ultimate. While whenever this influx flow, then this whatever is the chain of this ultimate now become cause, and it resulted into, or it ultimate into another expression, and it is a continuous flow of influx create a chain, or the create a continuous flow which link up the first chain, first ring to the last ring also, which is a ultimate. The true holding together of the material world is performed by the simple substance. Yes, these whatever is the supreme energy or the God you can say, and from which everything is proceed. This is a material world performed by simple substance. It is a material world and something is there performed by simple substance. Simple substance, it is again you know, it is a dynamic energy, or it is a fourth state of matter, which is nothing, it is a fourth state of matter, it is only the quality, isn't it, and only the quality of the degree of fineness. There are two words that came apparently to the mind of man, the world of thought and the world of matter, that is the world of immaterial substance and the world of material substance. The world of material substance is in order and harmony. Yes, the world of substance, material substance in order and harmony. Yes, everything which is the contents of this material world are in a harmony and in order. Then everything preserve their quality as it is, isn't it? For example, this wood remain wood never suddenly transfer into the iron, or iron remain iron, or retain their quality, or plastic remain only plastic, and everything you can say existed in the world, whether it is a material or non-material world, or the material world, or the you can say organic or inorganic, these are all maintain its order and harmony. Everything that appear before the eye has beginning, the form of harmonious. Every crystal of a metal crystallize in accordance with order. That means every crystal, for example, take the example of sugar or example of salt also. When there is a crystals are there, if you make a fine powder of this crystal and try to examine under the microscope, the shape of this very fine crystal is just resemble to the big crystal, isn't it? These maintenance of this size and shape of this material, it only because of, or the size or shape of this material thing is only maintained by the simple substance which maintain the state. Have you got this? And therefore every substance is different from another substance because it has a capacity to maintain their state. And therefore the example of crystal given by Dr. Kent, every crystal of a metal crystallize in accordance with order. And if you make the this at the very fine level, then at the molecular level, then you can find this very specific arrangement of these atoms in that particular molecule. That is, for example, in salt, you find the specific arrangement of the NS, that is sodium and chloride, and which fuse together. There's the cohesion we call as a salt. Have you got this? And therefore every crystal of a metal crystallize in accordance with order. Man's very anatomy form harmoniously. Yes, the example of man is also given here. The anatomy of man, it is stored in DNA, in the chromosome, isn't it? Therefore man gives birth to human being only, and it maintains the anatomy form very harmoniously. Everything that appears before the eye has beginning. The forms are harmonious. Every crystal of a metal crystallizes in accordance with other. Man's very anatomy form harmoniously. We see nothing in the material world to account for this, but we perceive that all things are held in position because of the continuous influx from first to last. Yes, it is all material in the world maintain their position or maintain their you can say their existence because the continuous influx from first to last. That means the first that is a very unique arrangement of the atom, because we are not go beyond this atom, and therefore we try to understand at the level of atom and molecule. This every molecule and atom has their specific position and they maintained by the simple substance. So the force of attraction in between this, or the force of cohesion lies in between these electron, protons and neutrons. There is no break in the chain and no break in the flow of power from first to last. That means whatever is true for the atom, it is true for this material one, element one. Nothing can exist unless its cause be inflowing into it continuously. We see that all things made by man's hand decay. Yes, everything which made by man's hand, that means these are not an organic one, these are not natural one, it has life, specific life. We see that all things made by man's hand decay and falls to pieces in time. But look at the things perpetuated from the influx. Look at the things perpetuated, that means these are, their existence is ever. It is not destroyed because it is their existence from nature. Perpetuated means it remains as it is from influx. Look at their order and harmony from time to eternity, working by the same plane and in the same order. That means whatever is the things made by human being, it has their own life, but the things which are perpetuated or which are run according to the nature, the influx is there, their harmony is not get changed. For example, the iron or the atom of this iron, the original form or the very finest and subtle form is the iron, which observed in the combined or alloyed form in the iron mine, isn't it? Or for you can say the example of coal mine also. This coal is also observed, this carbon is also observed in mine. It is this atomic structure is same as the big piece of coal if you pondered it into the fine powder. That means whatever is the existence of this carbon atom is maintained by the natural influx, isn't it? There is a perpetuated from the influx, and therefore their order and harmony is from time to eternity. It is never destroyed. It is अमर, ज्याला आपण म्हणू अमर आहे, ते एकसारखं वर्किंग बाय द सेम प्लॅन अँड द सेम ऑर्डर, ते एकसारखंच राहतं आणि काम करतं, आपण त्याला डिस्टर्ब करू शकत नाही. There are many qualities predicted of simple substance, and one of the first proportion we have to consider is that simple substance is endowed with formative intelligence. It is very important. Simple substance is endowed with formative intelligence. It is the first characteristic feature of the simple substance which endowed with formative intelligence. What is the formative intelligence? This intelligence of this simple substance which maintain the integrity of that particular material. That is, it intelligently operates and forms the economy of the whole animal, vegetable and mineral kingdom. Yes, we know the animal kingdom. There are different type of animal and their life is continuation. The offspring of the animal gives the next life to the other generation, and similarly vegetable, the vegetable which there is a different type of methods of the propagation of this vegetable or the plant kingdom, and these are in seed, for example, these qualities are encoded or you can say preserved, and these are decoded after the germination. Therefore mango tree develop the mango tree, or you can say guava tree develop the guava trees, or papaya tree develop papayas only. So similarly papaya seeds also develop into papaya tree, and papaya tree bears the papaya fruit, not mango. So this formative intelligence is endowed by the simple substance only. This maintenance of this difference in animal kingdom on different material or different qualities of this vegetable or the mineral kingdom also. Whatever is the qualities of this different kingdom is maintained by their simple substance. Everything with form goes on its natural course and assume and continues its own private state. The law of chemistry by analysis may be so revealed to man that he can detect all elements because they conduct themselves uniformly. Yes, after the development of this chemistry and the study of chemistry, and the periodic table is developed, and this periodic table contains n number of elements. Elements means these are not the combination, these are not the you can say it is not elements in a pure form. These are not the chemical without any chemical reaction. These are not compound, but these are all element, and these element are you can differentiate from each other because they conduct themselves uniformly, and therefore iodine is differ than that of the chlorine, chlorine is differ than that of the calcium, calcium is differ than that of the iron, iron is differ than the cobalt, cobalt is differ from the silica, and the n number of whatever is the elements are there, these are all differ from each other. because they maintain their integrity because of the simple substance. And the law of chemistry, and we can analyze them very well according to their arrangement of the their proton and neutrons and electron, isn't it? The different atomic weight, atomic number, these all if you talk in the language of chemistry, it is all maintained by or retained by the simple substance, and therefore every element is different from another element. The simple substance gives to everything its own type of life. Yes, every substance has its own type of life. That means it has their own character, gives it distinction, gives it identity, whereby it differs from all other things. The crystals of the earth has its own association, its own identity. It is endowed with a simple substance that will establish its identity from everything in the animal kingdom, everything in the mineral kingdom. That means everything on the earth is different from its form, and this form is maintained by the simple substance. This is due to the conformation. This is due to the formative intelligence of the simple substance, which is continuous from its beginning to its end. Yes, it is beginning. If you say it is beginning, but the beginning is not here only, but beginning is prior to this. There is seed. The seed is germinate, but seed is forming fruit, isn't it? And this fruit is bear on tree. Then what is it beginning? It is a continuous chain of influx. It is a continuous flow. If we take this beginning of this life from the germination of the seed, this seed of the mango tree develop a plant, and these mangoes bear on the tree of the mango tree. It is not on the termite or not on the papaya tree, but the mango seed of mango decoded, and the mango tree develop and bear mangoes, isn't it? It is a formative intelligence, and this is due to the formative intelligence of simple substance, which is continuous from its beginning to its end. And its beginning, and if it is end, but here is not end, because the seeds which we obtain from this mango also able to start the new life, isn't it? It is a continuous influx, continuous flow of life. If we examine the frost work upon the window, we see its tendency to manifest formative intelligence. Yes, one of the example given by Dr. Kent, it is a frost work. That means on window, on the glass of window, some ice particles are retained here during the snowfall, and each and every particle of the snow is very much similarity you observe. It is very unique. If it is in a drop like, if you observe under microscope, it's a drop like shape, and this drop like shape maintained by each and every particle and very fine and finest particle of the ice. Plant grow in fixed form, so it is with man from his beginning to his end. There is a continuous influx from man from his cause. Yes, it is it is a ovum, and you can say it is a zygote from human. It is developed into various stages and now develop a full term fetus, which may be develop the form of human being. Have you got this? It is because of the continuous influx. It is a continuous chain of energy. Hence, man and all form are subject to the law of influx. If man is in the highest order and is rational, he wills to keep himself in continuous order. That is, his thoughts may continue rational, but he is so placed in freedom that he can also destroy his rationality. Yes, the example of this, if you given by Dr. Kent, if human being want to preserve himself through its thoughts, may continue rational. If you want to continue your thought, that you should be a rational one. If you are not rational, you have a freedom to destroy his rationality. That means if you want to survive, if you continue your thoughts on the world, there should be a rationality. These are all the scientific. As this energy from Hahnemann is now continuing from his life to up till now also in form of his discovery, isn't it? Because he was a rational one. Now the second important characteristic of the simple substance is this substance is subject to change. In other words, it may be flowing in order or disorder, may be sick or normal, and the changes to a great extent may be observed or even created by man himself. Yes, this simple substance is a subject to change, and it is very easily overpowered by the same type of energy, that is a dynamic energy, which deranged this simple substance. And therefore the second quality, first is a formative intelligence and second is the subject to change. In other words, it may be flowing in order or disorder. If we follow the rules and regulations of nature, then we will live the orderly life. If we violate the rules and regulation of the nature, it definitely leads to disordered life or the disease. This may be sick or normal, and the changes to a great extent may be observed or even created by man himself. This susceptibility for receiving the disease or the disease from environment, this susceptibility is created by the man himself by violating the rules of nature, and therefore it is a subject to change. Man may cause it to flow in disorder. Then here we stop our lecture and let us continue the further qualities of the simple substance in next lecture. Okay, thank you.